Thank you, Travis. Good evening, viewers, and welcome to tonight's regional news. We begin with news from Brazil. At least 21 people have been shot dead and 7 wounded during a police raid on a Rio de Janeiro favela to capture the leaders of a drug trafficking organization. The deaths included a woman who was hit by a stray bullet in the exchange of gunfire between gang members and police in Vila Favela. The death toll puts the incident among Rio's deadliest police operations in recent history. The episode sparked protests and also reignited debate over the proper use of police force in Rio, where a common local saying is, "A good criminal is a dead criminal." Residents said on social media that heavy shooting began in darkness at 4 a.m. in a wooded area next to Vila Favela, sparking fear and panic in the slum. Gunfire began again in the afternoon. 7 wounded people were taken to a hospital, including a policeman. Rio State Public Prosecutors said in a statement they had opened a criminal investigation. They gave the military police 10 days to provide details about the operation, including which officials were responsible for each death and the justification for use of lethal force, the statement said. The operation was conducted jointly by the military police and federal highway police. Police seized 16 vehicles, 13 automatic rifles, as well as pistols and grenades, the police statement said. Now for news from the British Virgin Islands. A decision on whether the United Kingdom will impose direct rule on the British Virgin Islands or accept the new national unity government's proposal has not yet been made. At the end of April 2022, news broke of the arrest of Andrew Fahey, former premier of the BVI, on drug trafficking and money laundering charges. Simultaneously, the recommendations of the Commission of Inquiry report for the territory were communicated by Governor General His Excellency John Rankin, with the significant recommendation being the 2-year suspension of the constitution of the territory, leading to direct rule by the United Kingdom. People of the British Virgin Islands and the region spoke out against the imposition of direct rule from the United Kingdom and prompted the new Premier and Minister of Finance, Dr. the Honorable Natalio Wheatley, to propose a counter to the recommendation. A month after the announcement of the recommendation to suspend the British territory's constitution, Premier Wheatley, in a statement on May 24th, shared some details of the proposal made to the UK government. The government of the National Unity's proposal submitted to the United Kingdom outlines a framework for the implementation along these lines, which will divide responsibilities accordingly. The government will be responsible for the overall implementation of the COI report recommendations in partnership with the Premier and monitoring the government's work program and implementation timetable. The Premier would support the implementation of the recommendations of the COI report through engagement with the Governor and coordination of the Ministries of Government. As the leader of government business in the House of Assembly, he would also drive the legislation form agenda. The Cabinet would be responsible for agreeing and passing policies necessary to implement reforms. Premier Wheatley continued by declaring that there would be no early elections and outlined in the proposal the new National Unity Party would complete this term. We close tonight's regional news with an update on the recent shooting in Texas. 19 young children and 2 adults have died in a shooting at a primary school in South Texas. The gunman opened fire at Robb Elementary School, which teaches children aged 7 to 10 in the city of Uvalde, before he was killed by law enforcement, officials said. The 18-year-old suspect had a handgun, an AR-15 semi-automatic rifle, and high-capacity magazines, investigators say. The teenager is suspected of shooting his grandmother before the rampage. Local media report says he may have been a high school student in the area. Uvalde Consolidated Independent School District Chief of Police Pete Harendo said the shooting began at 11:32 local time on Tuesday and that investigators believe the attacker did act alone during his crime. Texas Governor Greg Abbott said the shooter, whom he named as Salvador Ramos abandoned a vehicle before entering the school to horrifically, incomprehensibly open fire. An Uvalde School District police officer who worked at the school saw Ramos emerge from the vehicle carrying a rifle and wearing body armor, according to Eric Estrada from the Texas Department of Public Safety, who was speaking to the media. The officer engaged the suspect but was unable to stop him. Two more officers from Uvalde Police Department also attempted to stop Ramos but were unable to do so and called for backup. Several of the children who died have been identified. That has brought us to the end of tonight's regional news. Thank you for watching. Back to you, Travis.